Hey, I'm Devin White. Welcome back to the Installing Inner Game blog. Today, I want to address a comment that came in from Andrea. Andrea, I love how you're keeping up with the blogs and letting me know what's going on, giving me comments. So, everybody out there, I'm going to just read some excerpts and I'm going to edit a little bit while I do it from Andrea's comment. She says, Devin, I have some more sporting news for you. Lately, it's been all about the eyes for me. I realize that when I ski and mountain bike, I have predatory eyes which are tight and focused. They help me cut through a crowd of skiers with precision. And then when I mountain bike, I'm the mountain lion, locked onto her prey. All right, and goes on and then says, I was on the hill, and the consistency of the snow was like a snow cone. If you fall off, you go sliding down the hill. And anyway, in my mind, I hear you say, allow your eyes to go soft. My whole body relaxed. I felt very lightweight, and my muscles actually reacted quicker than when they were tense. It was a feeling of being on balance rather than constantly correcting imbalance. What are some of your body in motion experiences? So, what you're saying here is spot on for my body in motion experiences. I remember when I first started to have the soft gaze more of the time, which Tom Brown Jr. calls splatter vision. I like that. And for those of you out there who haven't read the manual or haven't listened enough and you don't know that, what we're talking about is when your eyes go soft. So it's this awareness where you have much more peripheral awareness and vision rather than the constant focus that most people have. And the truth is, in our culture, we've been trained to a very short focal distance. Whether it's your computer or your television or learning to read, all of these things, or learning to write, all of these things are very close to your eyes. So we're trained early on in a very different way than like the Maasai, who are out on plains where they're looking for miles and miles and miles. And they can see an animal that's a foot high moving 2 miles away, and they instantly see it because they're trained differently. Their eyes see things differently. There was a study done with kittens where, I don't remember the exact timing, but it was something like, for 10 weeks they put these young kittens in a box for 3 hours a day with vertical lines that were only black and white. And by the end of the 10 weeks, those kittens were no longer able to see horizontal stripes. So there's an actual biasing of the neurology to pay attention to the things that we're taught to pay attention to early on and to literally delete incoming information that is outside of that. And so most of us have been trained to focus very close and not to prefer this wide-angled splatter vision. Now, the issue with this is that the wide-angle view, that perspective, allows for a different kind of musculature, a different kind of relaxation in the body, which Andrea is talking about, uh, where there's an experience of extreme reaction time. Like, instantly you can grab things. There's this moment in Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, the movie, where one woman is testing to see if this other young woman is this like ninja that they've been looking for. And she says, oh, she would have to have incredible reflexes. And then she accidentally on purpose knocks off this teacup and saucer from the table, and the young woman goes, "Whoo!" and grabs that teacup without even breaking eye contact and puts it back up on the table. And those are the kind of things that I started noticing happening for me as I was more and more in this wide angle perspective. That I would see something falling out of the corner of my eye and I would grab it without thinking about it. So the response happened first, and then afterwards I would think, and at first it was like, that was awesome. Because it's cool. It's really neat to have your reflexes be like that. And it's encouraged in a big way by allowing your eye set to just go soft. One of the ways to do this is to just begin to train yourself. I mean, and part of what Installing Inner Game is designed to do is actually give you the suggestions so that exactly what happened to Andrea happens to you, where you have the tight eye set, and then all of a sudden you just go and relax your eyes. And when you do, you notice that there's this full shift where you go, oh, Andrea said for her, she softened her eyes and suddenly that was it. The full experience was there. And she was able to react more quickly. And she was actually probably had a much more information that was coming into her, and it didn't have to go through this cognitive processing. It became more instinctual. This is the zone. This is where you're functioning and your reptilian system and your limbic system on top of that, your neocortex on top of that, they're all lined up and they're firing in synchrony. And you don't have to think on top of just being in the flow of your experience. This is the zone. This is where you want to be. And the default is the position that makes it so that you're in that state of flow. Now, what's interesting is that, for a lot of people, that's actually kind of scary, because what Andrea is saying is, I was on a mountain and they're sort of treacherous conditions. It's like a snow cone, and if you go in the wrong direction, bam, you're going right off the mountain. And so there's the way trauma gets locked in for people is that at the moment of trauma, at the moment that the guy I was talking about before, he's 5 years old and he hears his mom yelling, and suddenly everything gets tense. Whatever the trauma was taken in, whatever system, maybe he heard it, that's like, and it took as an auditory trauma. Now he's going through listening to the world for that trauma, because he doesn't want to be caught off guard again. And that state of flow, that essential perfection, is being protected. It's that soft nougaty inside that you want to keep safe from the world. And so what happens is the whole system is guarding it. But in guarding it, you no longer have access to the feeling, the actual experience of that perfection. So for people who have taken a visual trauma, they're focusing, they're looking around in the world for the thing that could threaten them being in that state. And so as soon as you relax that and you're in the experience and you're just having your experience, everything changes. And it's an absolutely miraculous kind of difference, and suddenly you're in the flow. And it's about giving yourself up to that magic, making yourself vulnerable, because that vulnerable place is where real strength comes from. And the more that you're able to put yourself there, the more quick your reactions are going to be, the more information you are going to be getting, and the less likely it is that you're actually going to be taking in new traumas. I hope that helps everybody. Andrea, thanks so much again for letting us know what's going on, keeping me up to date with your experience. I love it. I love hearing from you guys on the blog. This is Devin White for Installing Inner Game. I'll talk to you again soon.